But new evidence suggests that Gunung Padang is a massive pyramid that the jungles reclaimed over the millennia. Its core samples date to 22,000 BC. When Danny Hillman asked the government of Indonesia permission to excavate the site, they granted him, only to suddenly stop the entire project, pulling his funding, saying that they know that the mound is just a natural hill. Cases like these occur more often than not, where the established mainstream suppresses anyone who seeks out to find out the truth of the matter. What's more frustrating is that these skeptics do not take facts into consideration. For example, if a comet the size of Ontario Life were to hit the Earth right now, it would obliterate almost all trace of our civilization. The kinetic force would be equivalent to that of all the nuclear arsenal in the world combined. It would produce tidal waves and earthquakes. The debris would block out the sun, causing a nuclear winter that would last for hundreds of years. What would be left after thousands of years?
There's this incredible complacency and arrogance of modern civilization, that we are the apex and pinnacle of the human story, that we're the best that's ever come, and that's a danger. Mythologically, that is a very dangerous place to be. When you start imagining yourself as the apex and the pinnacle of everything, that's precisely when the universe reminds you that you are not that at all.
There's a documentary that you should watch called 10,000 Years After People that shows that the only things left if human beings were to suddenly disappear after 10,000 years would be Mount Rushmore, the Grand Dams, and of course, yet again, the Great Pyramids. The Sphinx itself cannot be dated, despite luminescence dating. This is because of contamination of later cultures renovating the Sphinx. Its head is clearly out of proportion to the rest of the body, leading John Anthony West to believe that the head was once depicting the face of a lion, and was later recarved into the face we see now, due to the intense weathering that it must have endured. The Sphinx itself is an equinoctial marker, pointing directly due east, facing the rising sun at the dawn of the spring equinox. What you will see in the following episodes is how all megalithic sites around the world are designed to keep track of a measurement of time known as the precession of the equinoxes, a cycle of time that only sophisticated astronomers could measure, and in the case of the Sphinx, during the spring equinox 12,500 years ago, the sun would rise against the backdrop of the constellation of Leo, Leo the Lion.
Crichton mentioned this business of precession. If you precess the stars of Orion's belt to the beginning of the present precession cycle, you get to this date of 10,500 BC, and everything locks. The pyramid locks with the 3 stars of Orion's belt, the Sphinx locks with the constellation of Leo.
Now, the constellations themselves have been interpreted differently by different cultures over thousands of years, of course. But there is evidence that suggests that some of the constellation figures have remained exactly as they are for the many millennia, such as Leo. Another controversial aspect about the Sphinx, in my opinion, would be the fact that it clearly features the face of an African person. I believe this ties into the Out of Africa theory, a theory that is not just subjected to archaeological evidence, but is supported by the Human Genome Project. Watch as I dissolve racism and human segregation in one video. So, during episode 3, I was making references to the Earth family tree. This concept applies to the many species of organisms that exist throughout the Earth. There exist